You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
So we're joined with Ian Goodwin, our regular visitor from the Sheppey Coastguards. Ian, as always, it's good to speak to you.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and thank you for inviting me along.
Now, I was wondering if we could perhaps go over some safety advice for our listeners first.
Yeah, clearly the rain's come along now, which means mud. It means the cliffs become unstable. And basically, the biggest safety advice for me, for the listeners, is to watch the tide conditions. Don't get cut off by the tides. The sea's starting to get a little bit rougher now and a little bit colder. But more importantly, keep away from the cliffs and ensure that you're wrapped up warm if you are going along the cliffs, but just keep away from the edge.
So Ian, I was wondering if we could do our usual sort of feature now, where we go over some of the incidents that you've covered since we last spoke.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, actually, the last time I was here was actually in June, and we didn't have much in June. And then all of a sudden, in July, we had, and in August, within that space of time, we had more incidents than we've ever had. It was absolutely chaos. We had 38 incidents in a month period, which is more than we've ever known, and that's all started on Thursday, the 11th of July, in the 10 o'clock at night, when the Sheerness all-weather lifeboat was launched to a Belgium-registered 39-foot yacht called the Anico, with 6 persons on board, which had lost propulsion on its passage from London to Queenborough. The all-weather lifeboat put a crew member on board to the casualty, which was located just off the Yantlick Creek, and tow was established to the Queenborough all-tide landing. That particular evening, there was 3 blokes actually come down to the all-tide landing, were what you would describe as inebriated, got in a very small boat, 3 men in a boat. I think there's an old book on that, and unfortunately, we got the Sheerness lifeboat just to keep a watching eye on them, because we were just a bit concerned they'd fall in the water, and they didn't have any safety buoyancy aids on, which was not a very wise thing to do. On Wednesday the 24th of July at 7 o'clock in the evening, we were tasked to Milton Creek to search for 2 jet skiers that had gone aground in Milton Creek. This was the second time in 4 days that one of the persons had gone aground and required rescuing. So we did actually say, can't you sell this? But we don't want to make it 3 in a row. They were actually located a distance from Milton Creek, near Wellmarsh Creek, and one person had managed to walk to the shore to raise the alarm. The inshore lifeboat managed to recover one person, and the Coast Guard recovered the other, where we transferred them to the King's Ferry Bridge, where they had to wait another 5 hours to basically retrieve their crafts at high water. Both persons were unable to anchor their craft, but our priority was to ensure that they were safe. We passed on relevant safety advice. Excuse me. Because one person was not wearing sufficient clothing and was in danger of becoming hypothermic. They weren't really... excuse me, Daniel, I've got something in my throat. They weren't really... they weren't kitted out for the particular weather conditions. On Friday the 26th of July at 10:45 in the morning, there was a report from Kent Police that ordnance was found off Minster Leas. This was photographed for confirmation by the Explosive Ordnance Department of the Royal Navy, which was based in Portsmouth, and it was identified as a field shell. So we marked it, and its latitude and longitude were noted, and the Royal Navy was tasked to report to the Leas the following day. That evening at 8 o'clock, we were tasked to a speedboat aground in the swale, and craft was towed back by the Kent Police to Queenborough. The craft had suffered engine failure, and one person required medical treatment for a cut knee. On the Saturday, on the 27th of July at 10:30 in the morning, the Royal Navy detonated the ordnance in situ, and Kent Marine Police were in attendance. Now, actually, believe it or not, Daniel, we get complaints from the public that the noise of the explosion disturbs their peace. far better than being injured by a bomb, I think.
Yeah.
But, we don't have the sufficient resources to go along and tell everyone that there's going to be an explosion. So we do apologise if there is an explosion, but it is for the good. We don't want people finding these field shells. Now, that afternoon at 1400 hours, my colleagues were first on the scene at Laysdown Beach following a report that a baby had stopped breathing. The baby was a 5-week-old which had been left in the sun, had suffered heat stroke and had difficulty breathing. It was actually Carnival Day, and about an hour later, as Chinese whispers go along, my colleagues were congratulated for delivering a baby on the beach, which wasn't the case. They actually went to a baby that stopped breathing, but by the time they got back to the parade, everyone thought they'd actually delivered a baby, but they hadn't. But strange enough, at 3 o'clock, they were off again for a report of an orange fishing vessel off Royal Oak Point, which was low in the water. It turned out to be a hovercraft, and the person on board was fishing. 7:30 that evening, a vessel ran aground in Swale at Longreach as a result of engine failure, and it was towed back to the King's Ferry Bridge where safety advice was given. On Sunday the 28th of July at 5:30, we were tasked at Warden Point to a capsized dinghy with 2 persons on board. The Whitstable lifeboat recovered the casualty in their vessel. On Monday the 29th of July, this was very interesting because this was the day we actually got the volunteer award, which was issued from the Queen for the 2012 volunteer service, and Her Majesty's Coastguard actually got that award, and we were actually given a nice badge that evening, a nice little token which we can wear on our uniforms. And that was Monday the 29th of July, and we actually had 7 further incidents that day, which makes the total for that week 17 incidents, and for the month 36 incidents in total.
Busy.
We were very busy. This is the highest number of incidents ever recorded. We know that because one of the team of Sheppey, it's not my team, it's the one of the team, Andy Redman, actually celebrates his 30th service this Friday, when he's going to get a bar to his long service. He's actually done 30 years service, and Andy can't remember that many incidents, so it was definitely a record. And he didn't stop there. On Tuesday the 30th of July at 7:30 in the morning, we were tasked to a drifting vessel off Hearty Ferry Inn in the Swale. The vessel was located by one of our Coast Guard rescue officers, Henry Ranger, who identified it as a capsized catamaran. The Whitstable lifeboat was launched to investigate, and the vessel was identified as a catamaran that had capsized the previous day near Herne Bay, and the owner was contacted in order to arrange a tow back to port. On Saturday, the 3rd of August at 1:30, there was a report of a vehicle stuck on the Queenborough slipway, and the vehicle managed to extricate itself without assistance. On Monday, the 5th of August at 7:30 in the evening, it's 5:30 in the evening, we were tasked to Minster Lees following a report of persons stranded and cut off by the tide. 3 children, on arrival, we found 3 children being led to safety by an adult. Thursday the 8th of August at 7:30 in the evening, there was a report of children and a possible adult stuck on the cliffs at Minster Warden Cliffs. We were stood down en route as the casualties had managed to recover themselves. That evening, 9:30, we were tasked to Laysdown following multiple reports of a red distress flare seen near Laysdown. We went to interview the first informant in Bayview and obtained a bearing location of the flare. Whitstable lifeboat was launched, and the flare was seen near the location of Little Groves Holiday Park, but nothing untoward was found, and all the units were stood down. On Wednesday the 21st of August at 8 o'clock in the evening, we were tasked to the Queenborough All-Tide Landing to meet a yacht called My Escape, which had been towed by the Sheerness lifeboat. It had suffered engine failure. The Friday the 30th of August at 8:30 in the evening, we were tasked to Sheerness docks following a report of a red flare in the vicinity. Both the Sheerness inshore lifeboat and Medway Coast Guards were deployed, and we continued the search at Chetney, and nothing untoward was actually found. I think that's actually concludes it, but if I may,
Yep.
Can I take this opportunity just to expand on the Volunteer Coastguard Award, if I may, Daniel. Is that
that'd
okay?
Be really good. Yeah.
Okay. You're probably aware that it was announced by Her Majesty the Queen that the Volunteer Coastguard Rescue Service, which is part of Her Majesty's Coastguard, had been awarded the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Volunteering Award in 2012. Now, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Volunteering Award 2012 is a special one-off category of the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, which was established in 2002 as part of the UK Honours System and is considered to be an MBE for community volunteer groups. Whilst the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service recognised the work of grassroots organisation at a local level, the Diamond Jubilee category seeks to recognise groups that operate nationwide. All Coast Guard officers, whether full-time or volunteer, are both delighted and honoured to receive this particular award. As I've mentioned in the past, the Coast Guard service consists of somewhere in the region of 3,500 volunteers, supported within 365 Coast Guard rescue teams, which are located around the coast of the UK, and play a vital role in helping the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, through Her Majesty's Coast Guard, achieve its vision of being a world-class organisation that is committed to preventing loss of life, improving maritime safety and protecting the marine environment. And, as you know, we do a lot of things such as coastal search, rescue capability, including cliff mud and shoreline rescue, and we can operate jotally or separately with other emergency services, and we're obviously out 24 hours, 24/7, 365 days of the year, and we are really tickled pink to get the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Voluntary Award.
Ian, as always, it's great to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us once again. I've no doubt we'll see you in a couple of months' time or so.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Yeah, and I'll be back in December, I think.
Yes, I think it will be.
Okay, thank you.